fans. Welcome to the debut episode of the newest podcast right here on 360 Wrestling Podcast. And it is what I'm calling Watch With Me, which everybody these days is doing watch-alongs, but instead of calling it the same thing everybody else is, I came up with the name Watch With Me because I'm going to watch something and you can watch it with me. But before I get into this very first episode of the new podcast, Watch With Me, thank you for listening to this right now, or if you're watching on YouTube, you feel free to watch the match I'm going to watch tonight with me. Either it's available on the WWE Network, it's also on YouTube, so whichever you want to watch it on, feel free to. I just want to say the last couple episodes of 360 Wrestling Fanatic were audio only, either on Anchor.fm or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or all the other podcatchers 360 Wrestling Podcast is available on. This is for those that are watching on YouTube right now. They weren't on YouTube. They were audio only. And for as of right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic, I think I'm going to make that audio only for right now. That could change, so just stay tuned. But other podcasts, 360 Fanatic Unleashed, and this new podcast, Watch With Me, I'm probably going to do on YouTube. But for right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic is probably going to be audio only. And speaking of Fanatic Unleashed, I did an episode the other day and had some trouble recording the video of it, so it did not get put on YouTube. I might redo the video and put it on YouTube, but for now, if you want to listen to it, it's available on the audio version, 360 Wrestling Podcast, either Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere else you can listen to podcasts. Pretty much just Google 360 Wrestling Podcast, you should be able to find it, or search for it on your podcatcher. And it was discussing the 2020 Achievement Awards, A Year in Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. If you're watching on YouTube right now, I got the cover right here. Orange Cassidy, Most Popular Wrestler of the Year. But if you're somebody that just listens to the audio version, I'm sure you've heard it already. But if you're watching on YouTube, because I don't know for sure if I'm going to redo the video and upload it, but I might, but just stay tuned. But if you want to hear it right away, or in case I don't upload it again, listen to the audio podcast. Now let's get into the first episode of Watch With Me. And the match I chose for this one is because, personally, this is one of my favorite matches of all time. And it features one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, going back to the Great American Bash 1990, is Sting versus Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight Championship. And the reason this one is my favorite, because I was only 6 years old at the time, and Sting still is, like I said, one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. And remember, at the time, only 6 loved Sting and hated Ric Flair. So I was so excited to see Sting win the world title that night. Sorry for spoiling it already, in case for some reason there's anybody that doesn't know the finish of the match. But like I said, you can watch the Great American Bash on the WWE Network, 1990, or the match by itself is on YouTube. And we're going to start off right with Ric Flair's entrance. And going to give a countdown. Alright, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Gary Michael Capetta introducing the Nature Boy Ric Flair now. And we have at the time, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, the World Heavyweight Champion. And we have Jim Ross and Bob Caudle on commentary for this one, as Ric Flair makes his way to the ring on the long way ramp to the ring, which I've always been a fan of. WCW used it many times. TNA has used it. AEW currently using it in Daily's Place now, 2021. As Gary Michael Capetta does the in-ring inductions. I love that gear and the red, white, and blue face paint from Sting. That was definitely one of my favorites at the time. And the dudes with attitudes in the corner of Sting. And we see Ole Anderson. Ole Anderson now being handcuffed to El Gigante to keep him from interfering. And sorry if I go without talking for a little bit. Watching the match. Hopefully you're watching it too now with me. And yeah, I was talking about the ramp. That was all. I think that's always like how it goes right to the ring. Sting and mentioned the red, white, and blue face paint and the gear. They came out with a figure for that not too long ago, maybe a few years or so ago. And Starcast, one of them that Conrad Thompson puts on, there was a photo op with that, the face paint and the jacket. You could get your picture with Sting, him wearing that. And referee Nick Patrick calling for the bell at this time. The dudes with attitudes, as I mentioned, in the corner of Sting, the Steiner brothers, the Junkyard Dog, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff also at ringside. Flair, shoulder block by Sting. I always thought Bob Caudle, he's not really, I don't know if he's really talked about as like when people talk about the list of the greatest commentators of all time, but I always thought he was really good. I enjoyed him on commentary. And of course, Jim Ross, and definitely one of the greatest commentators of all time, as Ric Flair getting the chops and in the corner, but no effect on the Stinger. And of course, a lot of people have pointed out the mistake by Jim Ross this week's Dynamite, as Sting slams Flair down with a military press. And during this week's Dynamite, Jim Ross made a little mistake by calling Kenny Omega the WWE champion. Of course, people online are giving him a hard time. Great drop kick by Sting just now as Flair rolls onto the ramp. Flair counters with another chop, but has no effect once again. He's doing the heel thing, begging him off. Hip toss on the ramp, clothesline back into the ring. Sorry for the I know my commentary is probably bad, probably worse than Mike Adamle. And in this time, I already mentioned, but I was a stinger at this time. I was definitely one of the little stingers. And I was also a Hulkamaniac too, but I would say out of the two, Sting and Hulk Hogan, definitely Sting was the one I liked better out of the two, and still do. But I was definitely Hulkamaniac. But Sting, definitely, probably in the top two of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Right there with The Undertaker. As Flair hits the knee. And Sting in a little bit of trouble right here. Flair going for a suplex. And Jim Ross mentions right now at this time, the suplex has no effect though. And Jim Ross just mentioned that Sting has never beat Ric Flair in a world championship match. Or at least at that time anyway, crossbody. Nick Patrick gets a 2 count in. And right now, like I said, I definitely encourage you to watch this match with me. If you're just joining me now, rewind and then start when I did. And Flair on the outside doing a little bit of stalling as he gets back in the ring. Now, what made me like Sting is one of the reasons was the look, was the surfer look, the bleach blonde hair, the face paint, the jackets, which I'm sure was probably a reason for a lot of people that were little stingers at the time. And Sting comes out of the corner again with a big clothesline, but misses an elbow drop. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube or in the comment section or any of the podcatchers, if you can leave comments, let me know what you think of this match, Sting and Ric Flair, 1990 Great American Bash. And also, what is your favorite Sting match of all time? And what is your favorite Ric Flair match of all the time? Also, who is your favorite between these two? Me, obviously, it's Sting. But who do you like better, Sting or Ric Flair? Let me know in the comment section below on YouTube or whichever podcast catcher thing you listen to on, or email your 60 Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com as well. Sting goes out to the ramp, lands hard, takes a hard bump. And speaking of Sting, if you're watching on YouTube, this shirt right here, the AEW, did I say AEW? AEW Sting right now, that is still available at shopaew.com. shopaew.com. They got another new Sting shirt, plus great shirts of all your favorite All Elite Wrestling superstars. No, I'm not being sponsored, but Tony Khan, if you're watching or listening to this, feel free to. Flair has Sting in trouble in the corner, working the knee. I remember this time was the kayfabe days for me, I guess you could call them. And I remember being real excited, wanting to see Sting make a comeback, because that's how, back in the day, when my favorite wrestlers were being beat down and selling, Sting, whether if it was Sting or Hulk Hogan, I remember just hoping that they would make a comeback, and because that was back before it's cool to cheer for the heels, and that was when you cheered the baby faces, booed the heels. I was also at this time a big fan of the Steiner brothers, of course, and the Junkyard Dog too. Flair working on the knee again. Oh, but he missed that. Sting's selling is definitely great in this one. I remember was definitely watching this pay-per-view live, watching this match live. Now Sting going for the figure four leg lock on the Nature Boy. I'm sure 6-year-old Lance Brock probably popped big for this at the time, back in 1990. Yep, I'm old. 6-year-old when this match was happening live, and now an old man watching it on YouTube. Yeah, I am watching on YouTube. I didn't feel like going on the network right now, so I'm watching on YouTube. But like I said, you can go on the network, watch it. Great American Bash 1990. Flair doing the classic begging. Now at the time, I hated Ric Flair. Boo. But wait, you gotta do thumbs down for a boo. Um, yeah, I hated all the heels, but now I respect the heels for what they do, and I appreciate it, especially when the dirtiest player in the game, Ric Flair. Classic Ric Flair corner spot right there. Classic. I mean, that was just something every Ric Flair match, that's a guaranteed you're going to see. Backside from Sting. It's funny because even though I know when I watch old matches like this back, even though I know what's going to happen, I still get into the matches because that's just how great wrestling is. Even though I've seen this match, I don't even know how many times I've watched it. I have lost count many times. Many times I've watched this either on the network or the Sting DVD they came out with. And I want to say this was also on the Rise and Fall WCW DVD they came out with. So bottom line is I have seen this match many times. I don't even know how many, but I still, when I watch, I get into it. I get excited, and even though when there's a near fall and I know it's not the finish, I still like I kind of like forget almost, and then get into the action. Flair back to working on the knee once again. Now, just a note about this podcast, watch with me. I'm going to try to do it every Thursday. I'm going to try anyway. Every Thursday. Hopefully. But don't, no promises. Because I don't have a regular or scheduled set time for any of the podcasts. But this one I am going to try every Thursday. So stay tuned. Hopefully I'll stick to that. And I'm not sure yet whether I'm gonna just watch matches or if I want to watch actual shows. Stay tuned. I'll just have to wait and see how it goes. I might watch some actual shows, maybe some classic pay-per-views, classic episodes of Raw, Monday Nitro. We'll see. Sting starting his comeback, no selling the chops from Ric Flair. Irish whip, another military press. Sting, I thought, was always great with his comebacks, to be honest. Gets 2.5 on that pinfall attempt. Got him in the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4. Classic corner spot from the Nature Boy. The flip goes over, walks the apron. Sting nails him with the clothesline. In case you're not watching for some reason. And looks like he's going to suplex him back into the ring. Nails the picture-perfect suplex right there. Or the suplex, the words of Gordon Soley. Pounding the chest there is Sting. I'm sure 6-year-old Lance was really excited at this time. Sting making his comeback. And looks like we're going to see the Scorpion Deathlock right now. As Ole Anderson tries to escape from Elegante, who he's handcuffed to, trying to get back into the ring. And here comes the Horseman, Barry Windham, Arn Anderson. Now Steiner Brothers and Junkyard Dog get in there and brawl with them a little bit, keeping them from interfering in there. Sting has the Scorpion Deathlock locked in. Sid Vicious also there on the ramp. Flair gets the rope break in the ring. Flair on the apron, shoulder block, through the ropes, goes for the pin, puts his foot on the ropes, but Scott Steiner knocks him off. A very different looking Scott Steiner than what we're used to nowadays. Schoolboy, but only a 2.5 for Sting. And especially if you're a younger wrestling fan, that's definitely different than the Scott Steiner you know. Sting. Backslide attempt. 1, 2. Once again, another near fall. Chops have no effect on Sting right now. This match, no matter how many times I watch it back, and it never disappoints me. That's why I chose this small package. 1, 2, 3. New World Champion Sting. As the dudes with attitudes come in to celebrate. Steiner Brothers lift them up on their shoulders to celebrate. As I was mentioning, the finish as Gary Michael Copetta announces Sting as the new World Heavyweight Champion. I say no matter how many times I watch this match back, it never disappoints. It's like, in a way, each time I watch it, I like it better almost. Just great. And As I already mentioned this quite a few times about Sting, at this time, my favorite wrestler, definitely my favorite wrestler in WCW, and I'm sure I was cheering in my living room watching this live on pay-per-view. Hopefully, you have enjoyed this match. If you're watching with me, seeing Sting defeat the Nature Boy Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight Championship right now. As Sting walks up the ramp with the World Heavyweight Championship. Sting on pay-per-view in 2021 coming up. March 7th, AEW Revolution. He'll be teaming up with Darby Allin to take on Team Taz in the street fight as that big Sting face comes down with the pyro. Celebrating with Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, the Junkyard Dog, and the Steiner Brothers. And I hope I don't get in any copyright trouble or anything, but I'm gonna play some audio from it right now, actually, at this time. Hopefully,
my mouth is really dry.
Hopefully,
so try and
this
understand
sounds okay going over
Ric
on the
Flair
audio
is the
in
greatest
the video.
world champion of all time.
Gordon slowly interviewing Sting.
On the other hand, I'm a champion tonight and tonight only. I've got some big shoes to fill in Ric Flair's shoes. Although we may have our differences, all I have to say is I'm going to do the best that I can do. And that's it.
This has to be the happiest moment of your life, wasn't it?
The great Gordon
Ric Flair was
Soley.
a champion 6 times with the help of the Horseman every time. He's truly a great champion. I know you don't want to hear it, maybe some of you, but it's true. It's a big accomplishment for the Stinger in his short career. Thank you very, very much, everybody.
Okay, thank you, Stinger, the new NWA heavyweight champion. Now back to Jim Ross and Bob Caudle.
Well, Bob, it's been everything we thought it would be. These great fans here at Baltimore. The Stinger comes back down.
And that's it. There's the match. Sting and Ric Flair. The 1990 Great American Bash. I hope you watched with me, whether you're listening to the audio podcast or watching the video version on YouTube right now. And just thank you for tuning in. Even if you didn't watch with me and you listened or watched me watch it. Thank you once again, and I hope to be back soon for another episode, hopefully next Thursday, because that's when I plan on having the new episodes drop each week on Thursdays, but who knows. Stay tuned for more episodes of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Just remember though, they'll probably be audio only, so Anchor or Google, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that stuff. And I'll put the Anchor site in the description on YouTube. Also, hopefully I'll get some more episodes of Fanatic Unleashed too. But speaking once again of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, I hope to have a recap of Sunday's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view as well. So stay tuned for that. And I just thought of this, what I might end this podcast with each episode. I'm Lance Brock, and thanks for watching with me.